Hi, this is Aurangzeb Mataza, undertaking this presentation for the course Level 3, Maths for Numeracy Teaching. And this is part of the requirement. And this particular requirement is dealing with sales and in terms of professional context, how to present it in that manner. So the further slides will be based upon this. Two slides, slide number 2, slide number 3 are really self-explanatory. So that's why I didn't do any commentary on that. However, coming to this slide, slide 4, it clearly, as you see, it depicts clearly for those of non-technical nature of understanding how the trend of sales is occurring and is taking place in terms of every quarter it seems to be going up. So the trend seems to be that in each quarter there is no loss, it's growth overall. And this growth is very well depicted in the bar charts as is individually characterized in terms of the height of the actual bar chart representing the sales in terms of pounds, obviously. And this goes to state again, to reiterate, one can clearly see on the left side the actual sales revenue in terms of pounds going up to £250,000 starting from minimal scale, and the other side in terms of vertical being the sales side and axis being the actual quarters. So overall in this depiction one can really see how the pattern is developing overall in terms of growth. Each quarter is on the pattern of growth all over in terms of the overall company, the sales revenue. You can see that it's more or less the similar figures. However, its representation is over the year scale. And the difference being is that previously it was bar chart representation depiction in terms of pictorial representation, but however this is a line graph. This is more appropriate and accurate because it's a much more lengthier scale in terms of an annual representation of the patterns and the analysis of the whole sales revenue, and obviously within that revenue is also depicting the actual growth. But again, to reaffirm, the only difference is this is over a year, whereas the other one was comparison with the actual quarters. Explanatory, so that's why I haven't done any commentary on that. However, coming to the final slide 8, in terms of conclusion, overall, as you can see, there's overall growth in each quarter, so there's no real undue concern at all. But this doesn't mean to say that one doesn't need to be vigilant. One does need to be vigilant all the time, and in that regard, one could have even better or even more deeper analysis if one was to do, for example, a cash flow analysis in terms of a weekly or even daily. That would give you in terms of up to point and up to scratch in terms of not falling short or having deficit in any of the sales at all, and if so, being prepared for in terms of business intelligence and having to strategize to make up for any deficit or shortfalls. But that is obviously going much more deeper. But in terms of what's been acquired, in terms of the data, in terms of the sales growth over the year as well as the quarters, it seems like a pattern of good and growth. And obviously there are limitations, as mentioned in the previous slides, with regards to like the economic factors, for example, inflation, the global impact, for example, things like like we had in UK, England a few years back, the COVID-19 impact world over, etc. Even the current one, the cost of living. So these things have to be taken into account. However, those are some of the limitations within this presentation. But overall, like I said again, it could be a little bit more in depth, but satisfactory to this point for the purpose. So again, to just reaffirm, need to keep an eye out, be vigilant, and not be stagnant, and always look for more and further opportunities.